Good morning, Malacanang Press Corps. Welcome to our Bangon Marawi press briefing. Joining us today are Housing and Urban Development Coordinating Council Chairman Eduardo Del Rosario, Office of Civil Defense Assistant Secretary Christopher James Purisima, and Philippine Information Agency Director General Harold Clavite. Good morning, gentlemen.
Thank you, Sweden. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Maing Buntag, MPC. In Marawi, the government deals not only with the rehabilitation of the city, but of the people. This is the framework by which Task Force Bangon Marawi approaches the ongoing reconstruction, rehabilitation, and rebuilding efforts. People are starting to return to Marawi, and with their return comes a new set of challenges. The task force, now under the leadership of HATSI Chairperson Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario, in close coordination and cooperation with local government units and other partners, strives to respond to these challenges and is duty-bound to empower affected populations to reclaim their lives. A series of Kambalingan or Homecoming and Brigada Marawi was facilitated last week by the city government of Marawi, the province of Lanao del Sur, and the ARMM government, which highlighted selfless commitment to help and the spirit of volunteerism among our people. A series of Maswara or community gathering and Servicio Caravan was conducted. In the Maswara, play and entertainment were organized for the children, and ID registration services were provided by the local civil registrar's office. We realize that our people remain strong and resilient despite the predicaments they face, and they are ever willing to work with government in getting them back on their feet. Through these efforts, we hope to not only respond to the countrymen's immediate needs, but also to strengthen active participation among them. On that note, we welcome you all to today's Bangon Marawi press briefing. I'd like to call on the Task Force Bangon Marawi Chairperson, Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario.
Members of the media, good morning. I assumed the leadership of Task Force Bangon Marawi last October 27, and we are taking on the challenge. To trigger our press conference today, I will be giving a short presentation so that we'll have a common perspective or baseline of the current situation in Marawi City and the interventions that the government would like to undertake. So for our updates, next slide please. I will talk about the profile of Marawi City so that we will know ano ba ang profile ng Marawi. Conflict-affected areas, the transitory shelter being built by the government, the permanent housing and rehabilitation plan. Next. From this Marawi profile, we can see that there are about 201,000 people and covering an area of 8,400. And their sources of income come from agriculture, trading, and employment to both public and private sector. And in as far as the city's competitive index ranking is concerned, in 2016, it ranked 139 out of 145 cities. And unfortunately, for this year, it ranked the lowest, 145 out of 145 cities. So we can see that Marawi City is not that competitive. And we are hoping that with the rehabilitation of Marawi, it will improve and be in the top 25% bracket in as far as competitive city is concerned. Now, I would like to focus on the sources of income. Take note that in agricultural aspect, it has 40%. So it provides 40% source of income, and for trading, 45%, with 15% on employment for both public and private sector. So in as far as interventions are concerned, and to trigger the economic activity in Marawi City, we are focusing on these two major areas, agriculture and trading. and that is to trigger economic activity. Next. This is the conflict-affected areas, 96 barangays, and you will notice that out of 96, the ground zero or the main battle area is about 33 barangays, and it is colored red in our map. And we have 13 barangays medium affectation and 50 barangays least affectation. Some pictures of the ground area. Next. And pictures of some damaged buildings. The first intervention conducted by the government is in the transitory shelter so that we can decongest the evacuees in 69 evacuation centers. So this is Barangay Sakunsongan. It is where we will put up 1,175 temporary housing units. This is about 3.5 kilometers away from ground zero in as far as air distance is concerned. So these are the 6 areas we are focusing on. Next. We are putting up electrical poles so that once the occupants will come in, they will have electricity. We are putting deep wells that can provide water to 1,170 families. We have a video of the entire site. Play the video.
Hindi pala, hindi bomba, sa Marawi ang sagot. Ang iisang dugo ay galit ang bumabalot.
Yung white lines na nakikita nyo, concrete ang area, parang subdivision type with common facilities. So pag occupied ng ating mga kababayan, merong kuryente, merong tubig, at ang road networks made of concrete. We will link the provincial capital. It's about 2 kilometers away going to the provincial capital. So we will rebuild this road that became impossible because it was that the construction was not completed before. The transitory shelter has 22 square meter with a toilet and bath per unit. So merong septic tank, and the drainage system is provided to ensure that it will last for 2 to 3 years. Kung wala tayong drainage system, baka in less than a year, magkaroon na ng problema dyan sa road networks natin, pati sa mga housing units. So we'd like to ensure that when they occupy the entire area, it will withstand a longer period of stay, as we are constructing the permanent shelter of those who signify their intention to have a permanent shelter. Next. By middle of December until December 20 or before Christmas, we intend to give 500 families as a minimum. It can reach 600 depending on the weather condition in Marawi City. Because in Marawi, almost always merong ulan pagkatapos ng noon time. So our contractors start working as early as 6 in the morning so that they can maximize the time that there is no rain. So we are committing to provide 500 for a minimum housing units, not later than December 20. On permanent housing, there is a requirement of 2,747 housing units, and the local government is providing 33 hectares, and this lot is already available. And we are very fortunate that the San Miguel Foundation actually committed to build 5,000 permanent housing units. The requirement is only 2,747 units as of now, but San Miguel Foundation is willing to provide even 5,000 housing units. So we inspected the place yesterday, and the instruction of the SMC President Ramon Ang for his people to immediately start the construction. On the part of HADSI, NHA, Pag-ibig, and HLURB are working together so that we can provide socialized or low-cost housing units for employed government employees or gainfully employed civilians in Marawi City. There are about more than 2,000 faculty and employees of the Mindanao State University, and initially 1,000 faculty and employees signified already to purchase or to have a housing loan with Pag-ibig, and it will be constructed by NHA. On the rehabilitation plan, again, the minimum and medium and maximum affectation. Next. The tool being conducted worldwide is for us to conduct a post-conflict needs assessment. The post-conflict needs assessment is being undertaken so that we will know the actual damages and opportunity loss on the ground in the affected area. Once we have determined the total damages and opportunity loss, then we will factor in now the rehabilitation costs of the damages and the opportunity loss. And that's a time that we can compute and make plans for the comprehensive rehabilitation plan of Marawi. Our concern now is that we are through with clusters 1 to 10. We have completed the post-conflict needs assessment. However, we are now suspended in the conduct of this activity because of the presence of some stragglers in the main battle area or ground zero. So it is suspended, and we hope that by the end of the month or early December, we can start with the PCNA so that we will have a complete data before we can come up with a complete package of the master rehabilitation plan. So that is the present situation why the PCNA is on hold. It is suspended, but we have completed 49 barangays, and there are still 47 barangays remaining. And the comprehensive rehabilitation plan will be undertaken by NEDA in coordination with other concerned agencies, the local government units, NGOs, and civil society organizations so that we can come up with a complete package of rehabilitation plan. The focus of early interventions are the following. We will focus on delivery of food, water, electricity, housing, livelihood, health services, and hospital facilities that were destroyed, the classrooms, place of worship, wet and dry market, and road networks. Now, I would like to focus on the 24 barangays that cover about 200 to 250 hectares that was destroyed 80 to 90%. The focus of the rehabilitation will be in this area, and we intend to develop this 80 to 90% destroyed community we will flatten it. It will be subjected to land development so that at the end of the day, after the rehabilitation, the central business district of Marawi City will be a world-class city that we can say that much, much better than it was before. Next. I would like to show you the video of the ground zero that was taken last Saturday.
Hindi pala, hindi bomba, sa Marawi ang sagot. Ang iisang dugo ay galit ang bumabalot. Mga walang kamuwang-muwang, kayakap ang luha at bakot. Mga maling at hikain ay di tamang sagot. Marawi, sabay-sabay nating ibabangon. Buong pagmamahal, tayo ay aahon. Marawi, darating din ang isang dapit hapon. Sisikat ang araw sa isang bagong ngayon. Kristiyano at Muslim, hindi ba't iisa? Nilalang tayo ni Allah na iisang Ama. Kung bubuksan ang puso ng bawat isa, sa mundo ang maghahari ay ngiti at saya.
Yung Agus River, ba't hindi na ilabas sa video? Yung part 2. Kasi yung Marawi, nahahati yan sa gitna ng river, about 100 meters wide. And it is called the Agus River. I would like you to show, I would like that be shown to you so that you can picture out the beauty of Marawi City.
Marawi, sabay-sabay nating ibabangon. Buong pagmamahal, tayo ay aahon. Marawi, darating din ang isang dapit hapon. Sisikat ang araw sa isang bagong ngayon. Kung bubuksan ang puso ng bawat isa, sa mundo ang maghahari ay ngiti at saya. Marawi,
Ayan, look at the Agus River. Yung mga nakapunta sa inyo sa abroad, makita nyo, lahat ng metropolis, meron silang river. And they are using it for a boat ride to attract tourists. Merong night cruise, merong day cruise. So if we can transform that after the rehabilitation, para Marawi City will become a tourist place in Mindanao. I think they can rise faster. So that is the intention of the rehabilitation plan. Pagka pinlatan natin ang buong area at sinubject natin sa land development, pati yung mga electrical posts sa ilalim na. So it will become a modern Marawi City.
Ko
And this will be a tourist spot.
Marawi, sabay-sabay nating
Okay, the map, that's the one, the red one. Look at the far side of the river on the other side. We will make it as a pathway or a park from end to end. The center will be a place for boat ride, if that would be possible. And the Lake Lanao, the bottom area, that's Lake Lanao. It can be converted into resort areas so that we can attract more international as well as local tourists. Next. I visited one evacuation center, and when I went out, I was surprised to see soldiers and children singing. Please show the video. Despite staying there for 5 months, they're still optimistic of their future, and we share the sentiments of these children. Okay. When I was appointed by the President as the chair of Task Force Bangon Marawi, I issued this statement. I humbly accept the enormous challenge entrusted by the President of rebuilding Marawi City. We will not only rebuild the physical structures, but also rebuild the dreams of residents for a better future and a more progressive and secure Marawi. And that is the intention of the national government in partnership with the private sector. So that ends my presentation. We are ready for the Q&A.
Maraming salamat, Secretary De Rosario. We also have with us today the spokesperson of Task Force Bangon Marawi, Assistant Secretary Christopher James Purisima of the Office of Civil Defense. So, Sweden, they can ask questions to Secretary and Assistant Secretary Purisima.
All right, the floor is now open for questions. Alvin Baltazar of Radyo Pilipinas.
Chairman De Rosario, magandang umaga po.
Morning.
Good morning, sir. Sir, clarification na po doon sa idodonate na ni Mr. Ramon ang 5,000 permanent houses po. Bukod po ba yun doon sa mahigit 2,000 pa na gagawin naman ng government?
Yung 2,700 plus requirement for transitory housing unit, that's temporary shelter only. So eventually, those staying in the temporary shelter, while their houses are being built in their respective lots, they will stay temporarily in the transitional shelter. Now, there are those who would like to transfer to a permanent shelter simply because they do not have a house, they do not have a lot. So ito yung mga nakatira along the Agus River, mga squatters sila doon, so informal settler families. The local government will not allow them to go back there anymore. So we will provide temporary shelter. So at the moment, only 2,747 signified their intention to have a permanent shelter that will be provided by the government. And this is the one that will be constructed and given by San Miguel Foundation. Actually, they offered 5,000, but the requirement is only, the need on the ground is only 2,747. So that will be provided by the San Miguel Foundation.
Ito, Chairman, doon sa 33 hectares, ano?
Yes, in the 33 hectares.
Sir, yung bang mga na-donate ng China na mga heavy equipments, ginagamit na po ba ngayon?
Yes, it's there now. It was given to DPWH, and DPWH is they are deploying it in Marawi.
Sir, ihabol ko na lang po kay Asik Purisima. Sir, sabi po kanina sa presentation ni Chairman Del Rosario, 49 barangays, tapos na yung post-conflict needs assessment. So sir, baka initially meron na po tayong cost of damage.
Wala pa tayong nire-release na cost of damage. No? We will release them pag na totally na-evaluate na natin yung initial PCNA dun sa 49 barangays at titignan na rin natin yung pag-resume ng PCNA dun sa remaining barangays pag may clearance na. Pero as a policy, hindi muna tayo naglalabas ng initial damage or cost, no? Para hindi naman ma-distort yung figures down the line. So that's part of the methodology of our PCNA.
Ace Romero, Philippine Star.
General Del Rosario, you mentioned about the suspension of the needs assessment in 47 barangays because of the presence of terrorists. Mga ilan pa po yung nandun?
Actually, yung last estimate natin is about 50. Pero of the 50, marami na rin mga non-neutralized ng government because they are fighting it out. So hopefully by third week or last week of November, it will be done already so that we can start with the PCNA the soonest possible time.
So when do you expect to complete the needs assessment for the entire Marawi?
Yes, if once it is done by, let's say, first week of December, it can be completed in 2 weeks. Then they will devote 1 week for the right shop so that they will combine the 49 and plus the 47 barangays. Then we can up with the workable figure, an amount that would be needed to rehabilitate Marawi City.
But how serious is the threat posed by these remaining 50 or about 50 terrorists who are still in the area?
Actually, it's not only the resistance. It's actually while going every building, our troops are also careful because of the unexploded bombs or there might be some ordnance in the area.
Thank you po.
Cedric Castillo, GMA7.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, yung sorry, yung na-mention nyo kanina, sir, sa MDA, i-flatten na yung mga structures doon, ano po, yung 200 to 250 hectares. Sir, tanong ko lang, sir, does it require consent nung private owners na i-flatten na yung mga properties?
We are going to consult them. In fact, this coming November 22, I'll be meeting all the stakeholders, the ulamas, the sultanates, the local government units of Marawi, Lanao del Sur, and ARM. I will go to Marawi City and talk to them about that plan. Actually, even before coming up with that plan, I was able to talk to some Marawi leaders, and for them, that's their suggestion. But we would like to get the majority of the populace supporting that plan. Because at the moment, if you will look at the destruction, if 80-90% of the 200 barangays, 200 hectares of the 24 barangays were destroyed, I think that is the best way to do. You cannot rehabilitate or reconstruct those buildings. It's all skeleton. Wala nang pati foundation yan na weak kasi nasunog, tinamaan ng bomba. So it's quite unsafe to rehabilitate these buildings. So the best way and to put order to the commercial district of Marawi City is to subject it to land development. Instead of, let's say, the main road, na magkaroon tayo ng 2 lanes, gagawin natin 4 lanes. Lalakihan na natin para talagang pagka bumalik at inalaw natin bumalik yung mga private owners, they can really stand with a better foundation.
Sir, granting po that they approve of the plan,
paano po ang magiging compensation doon sa, mag-zero in lang tayo doon sa MBA po, sir. Paano magiging compensation doon sa private owners po?
Hindi pa natin napag-uusapan yung compensation. Ano? Ang kinukuha natin, yung sa permanent shelter pa lang. Yung mga walang bahay at walang lupa. With regards to the buildings that were destroyed, privately owned, that is a different policy that would be addressed by government. I was asking some partners in other countries, and I was told that governments actually do not compensate the private owners. But at the moment, we don't have a policy guidance regarding that.
Sir, I understand kasi parang may iba yung kalakalan dyan pagka gera yung sumira doon sa property, di po ba, sir?
That's the point. Kaya nga, pagka even kung natural, ito, man-made, sinabi natin, man-made ang cause, yung natural, even natural causes in Tacloban, sa Region 8, walang private properties na kinompensate ang government.
Sir, follow up lang, sir, on last on my part, sir. I suppose it's a welcome development yung sinasabi nyo kanina na to make it a world-class tourist spot. May mga boat rides pa na planong ganyan, sir. But I suppose the question is, ano po yung rationale behind going beyond bringing Marawi to what it was, sir? Going beyond it, parang i-develop pa more than how it used to be before the war, sir. Ano po yung rationale
Ang
behind it, sir?
objective lahat ng mga damaged communities is to bring back better. Even sa Yolanda, yan ang palagi sinasabi, bring back better communities. So I think this is an unfortunate incident that you would like, at the end of the day, convert it into a positive one. And the best thing to do is to make it much, much better. And you will see that in as far as competitiveness is concerned, it's the lowest in the whole country. Sabi ko nga, if you would like to dream for a better Marawi, let's make that dream a reality. So that at the end of the day, we can at least show to the Muslim community that the government means well, and we will do everything to help them.
Thanks, sir.
Okay, Jopel Peleño of DWIZ, to be followed by Dexter Ganibe of DZMM.
Ay, sir, do you have any information, sir, dun sa balita na nangako daw po yung bansang Vietnam na babahain daw po nila ng tunay-tuneladang bigas dun sa Marawi po?
I have not received that information yet. I hope.
Sir, nag-pledge po yung Vietnam na magdodonate po ng 200 metric tons po ng bigas na in return naman po, palalayain daw po yung 5 Vietnamese fishermen. Nag-press con po doon sa Vietnam si Xbox.
Well,
Regarding that.
I have not heard about that offer and the condition, but that is a political decision if ever.
Paano po yung, if ever natuloy yung distribution po ng rice po sa Marawi?
It will be undertaken by DSWD.
Sir.
Sir, follow-up lang po dun sa, binanggit niyo po kanina dun sa NHA na may subdivision po ata na itatayo. May tie-up po ba ito, sir, sa mga private?
Yes.
owner?
Usually naman, pag nag-construct ang National Housing Authority, they use private contractors. But this time, we would like to assure you that it will be standard housing facilities. It can withstand 7.2 magnitude and 250 km/h wind.
Next, Dexter Ganibe of DZMM, then Chona Yu of Inquirer.
Kay spokespersima. Sir, binanggit you last week, may mga bumalik na dun sa Siam, unang barangay. Nakompleto na po lahat ito, sir? Ano?
Nakompleto na yung pagbabalik dun sa Siam na barangay. We're just waiting for information from our local government unit of Marawi, no? Kung kailan yung pagbabalik sa iba pang mga barangay.
Sir, kumusta po yung situation nila a week after silang pumasok ulit doon sa kanilang mga bahay?
Okay naman, continuous ang monitoring ng ating local government units, ang ating local chief executive at ang ating mga barangay officials. No? Kasi sila naman talaga nakakakilala, nakakaalam sa kanilang mga constituents. So patuloy yung pagbibigay natin sa kanila ng relief, patuloy yung pagbibigay natin sa kanila ng basic services. And on the part of the task force, minomonitor yan ng ating field office at pinaparating ng field office dito sa national level kung may kailangang augmentation from other government units.
Nabanggit din po na tapos na yung PCNA sa 49 barangays. Pwede na rin po bang pumasok, bumalik yung mga residente doon sa areas?
Ito phasing to, kasama ito dun sa inaantay nating clearance at information from our local government units. So kasama yan, yung 49 na yan, so 40 na lang kasi kasama na yung siyam dun sa binalikan. No? So dun sa 40 na barangays, gradual phasing ang pagbabalik nila. And we will announce their return pag meron ng schedule na binigay ang local government unit. At parati naman nagko-coordinate ang local government unit at ang ating task force. In fact, the mayor of Marawi City, meron siyang office dun sa task force field office para mas buo yung coordination between the task force and the local government.
Okay.
I would like to add something. Itong managbalikan sa 9 barangays, they were provided with food assistance good for 17 days. So binigyan sila bawat pamilya isang sakong bigas, I think 50 cans of assorted canned goods, and they were given 5,000 pesos each family. And I was talking to Mayor Gandamra. We were together in Makati earlier this morning. He told me that the next batch of evacuees who will return will be next week. So let's wait for that because it has to undergo screening. The barangay residents coming back will undergo screening while DSWD is preparing the assistance that will be provided to the next batch.
Sir, follow-up, bago yung last point ko. Nababanggit nyo yun sa 17 days na binigay sa kanila. Hanggang kailan po ang gobyerno mag-aayuda doon sa mga residente na bumalik na sa kanilang mga bahay?
Well, I think it depends on the assessment on the ground. But for me, for a minimum, it could go 6 months.
6 months. Okay, sir.
Minimum, minimum.
Last
it could go 1 year.
Last on my
It
part.
depends. It depends.
DBM Secretary yesterday announced the additional 14.5 billion budget for Bangon Marawi for 2017. This budget will be given to NDRMC. This is on top of the 5 billion pesos na unang binanggit for 2017. Sir, paano natin magagamit ito? We have only more than a month before the year ends.
That's why we told the different departments to only request DBM the right amount that they can obligate or use until December 31. If you need 500 million, don't ask 1 billion. Ask 500 million only because it will just go to the general funds. So they should conduct an estimate that will be needed until December 31. So at the end of the day, they will only be getting what they need.
So what will happen, sir, doon sa mga unutilized budget pagdating ng year-end?
It's automatic. It goes to the National Treasury.
Thank you.
Choni of Inquirer and then Rose Novenario of Hataw.
Sir, good morning. Chairman, there was a proposal before to preserve the ruins.
To preserve the...
Ruins, sir, dun sa main battle area. How do you respond to that, sir?
We are considering that. Maybe 2 or 3 buildings. Para tourist spot di ba? So pagpunta natin ng mga tourists, they can see what happened based on the 2 or 3 buildings that we will retain and maintain as part of tourism. We do not know yet. Wala pa akong mismo, di pa ako nakakapunta sa ground zero. So we will determine that in tandem with the Department of Tourism. Ano yung very symbolic, with meaningful on the part of the Marawi residents that we can tell the visitors or the tourists that these structures will tell us what happened during the conflict.
Sir, hindi ba yun, parang yung emotions ng mga taga-Marawi, maaalala ulit nila pag nakikita nila?
Well, it may be 2 ways, it would mean that never again that their place will become like that because they allowed the ISIS to enter their city.
Okay, Rose?
Good morning, General. Sir, meron pong statement yung si Sydney Jones ng Institute for Policy Analysis of Conflict. Nagbabala po siya na magkakaroon daw po ng resurgence ng radicalization sa Marawi pag nagkaroon daw po ng diskontento yung mga residente sa reconstruction and rehabilitation. Ano po yung magiging assurance ng gobyerno na maiiwasan po yung ganitong sitwasyon na babala po ni Ms. Jones?
Well, ang importante naman dito magkaroon na ugnayan engagement and inclusion of the Marawi residents in all the plans of the government. And on our part, we will ensure that what we plan, that what we promise will be delivered to them. I think that is the best assurance that we can provide. Ensure that what we promise will be implemented strictly on the ground.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any more questions? Follow up? Okay. Cedric Castillo of GMA 7, then Ace Romero of Philippine Star.
Sir, pasensya na, i-rephrase ko lang yung question ko kanina, sir. Kung merong isang residente na nakatira doon sa MBA, meron siyang building, meron siyang bahay doon, and then nasira, at the moment, sir, ano po yung pwede niyang asahan from the government?
No intervention yet. Wala pang policy guidance sa government. Wala pa.
Ace?
ASEC Purisima, do you have any updates on the amount of foreign donations that we already received for Marawi?
No amount, yung listahan, hindi pa rin nare-release. It's just being compiled dahil meron nga mga dumadagdag na pledges, no, or assistance, even from local, kasi we're not just talking about here foreign governments, no. We're also talking about local donors, local companies, no, local stakeholders. So, kino-compile pa rin yung listahan and we will release it in due time.
This coming in line with that, Ace, we are meeting this coming November 15. We would like to tackle that issue so that we can establish the mechanism. Okay, if one country or several countries would like to donate, what is the mechanism by the government, by Task Force Bangon Marawi, in order to account all these donations that would be provided? Who is the right agency that will handle it, and how will it be utilized?
Salamat po.
Okay. Yes. Chris Jose.
Sir, yung sa mosque naman, meron ba kayong plano? Part ba ito sa magiging world-class city ng Marawi?
Actually, we could not rehabilitate. Government could not rebuild the mosque dahil that's the separation of the church and the state. But there are so many Muslim countries who would like to donate, and they will be the ones to finance the reconstruction or construction of several mosques in Marawi City.
Muslim countries like, sir, what?
I just heard, maybe Saudi Arabia. Or, I know that they will be helping, most especially in the construction of mosques.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more question? Other issue? Okay, Dexter.
Kay ASEC Purisima, sir, do we have update on the onslaught of Salome?
Nag-press briefing ngayon sa NDRMC regarding that, no. I don't have the figures right now, and I don't have the details. So we'll defer to that press briefing sa NDRMC.
Copy, sir.
Okay, that's it. No more questions? All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the Malacanang Press Corps, and of course our guests for today, PIA Director General Harold Clavite, and our spokesperson and chairman of Task Force Bangon Marawi, HUD-C Chairman Eduardo Del Rosario, and Assistant Secretary Toby Purisima of Office of the Civil Defense. Thank you very much. Back to the main studio of PTV4.